This was at the Queensland Children's Hospital, and I worked with kids with stroke and traumatic brain injury. So we were trying to see if we could use non-invasive brain stimulation as a potential therapy for kids with brain injuries, because typically the treatment is drugs or medications, but they come with a lot of side effects. So we were hoping that non-invasive brain stimulation could help these kids and not have as many side effects as the medications. My name's Jacob. I'm a neuroscientist at University in Queensland in Australia. I did my undergrad in exercise science. I initially wanted to do something clinically focused, like physio or medicine. And towards the end of my undergrad, I got really interested in more of the medical science side of things. I enrolled in an honours year. I really enjoyed that honours year. It was in neuroscience. So I decided to pursue research as a career, and I enrolled in a PhD, did my PhD in neuroscience. This was all at Griffith University on the Gold Coast in Australia. And then after my PhD, I got the opportunity to do a post-doctoral research fellowship at the University of Queensland. And I haven't looked back since. I've wanted to pursue research, whether that's in a teaching and research academic capacity or as a full-time researcher ever since then.
That records muscle electrical activity and sends this directly to a computer. And guess what? They've just published this in Nature. So the world should take notice, because this might change human-computer interaction.
Generally speaking, my research relates to the neural control of movement, so trying to study how the brain talks to the muscles. I'm unique in a lot of sense compared to other neuroscientists. I don't work with cells or animal models. I do all my experiments on humans or involving humans. And a lot of my research is centered around the use of non-invasive brain stimulation, so techniques like transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, to study motor pathways, or how the brain controls muscles, and also to induce what we call neuroplasticity to the brain, so changing the brain's structure and function, which may have therapeutic benefits in some clinical populations. So in my postdoc fellowship, I worked with, this was at the Queensland Children's Hospital, and I worked with kids with stroke and traumatic brain injury. So we were trying to see if we could use non-invasive brain stimulation as a potential therapy for kids with brain injuries, because typically the treatment is drugs or medications, but they come with a lot of side effects. So we were hoping that non-invasive brain stimulation could help these kids and not have as many side effects as the medications. These days, I've got a few projects going on. Mainly, I work in the basic science or discovery science space. So I'm just trying to work out a bit more about the neurophysiology of the motor system, with the hope that eventually we can apply what we've learnt in our basic science work to clinical populations. And I'm just starting to do this at the moment. So I'm working across a few different universities to study how we can better treat individuals with motor impairments in multiple sclerosis or MS. Very recently, we've got some funding from Multiple Sclerosis Australia, or MS Australia, to look at a project investigating cortical and muscle stimulation on inducing neuroplasticity in people with multiple sclerosis. I think from early in my studies, I've been really fascinated with the brain and how it works. Out of all the organ systems in our body, I might be a bit biased because I study the brain, but it's the coolest organ. It's the only organ that is truly alive and it makes us who we are. And it's the organ that we don't really know too much about. So I thought I'd be able to have the biggest impact if I was to engage in a career as a neuroscientist. And there are so many fascinating, interesting questions that need answers to in the neuroscience space that I thought I'd be able to hopefully address, and I can use my research time wisely in doing that. Generally speaking, I'm a very active person. I like to go outside and make use of the good weather that we have here on the Gold Coast. I'm very fortunate to live quite close to a beach and also the hinterland where I can go on hikes or beach walks or beach runs. So I like to get outside, outdoors, do a bit of physical activity. Very recently, I've just gotten a new young puppy. His name is Bear. He's a cross between a golden retriever and a poodle. And when he gets a bit older, I'm hoping to take him on beach walks and sort of hikes and stuff like that. So I'm sure that will take up a lot of my time as well.